The Archon of Secrets passes his scepter from one hand to the next, chuckling softly with each toss. You hear the voices in your head. Oh, lovely. Voices in my head. Don't you just love it when that happens? Watch him squirm. So many tears over replaceable, spendable, useless soldiers. I miss the old Archon of War. You'd never see a blood echo in a blubbering mess over a few dead killers. He'd use the knuckle bones of his best disciples for jewelry, and even made a breastplate out of his dead brother's ribcage, because that's how a real man deals with grief. The voices of Narat, well, they're not going to be on Tiberius's Christmas list, that's for sure. They call you the Archon of Secrets, but you certainly don't seem to know anything remotely useful. If you did, maybe you would have actually shared it by now.
I second the fate binder. Thought you had the memories of one of those Oathbreakers rattling about that bronze gourd of yours. Would Kairos' mighty spy master please enlighten this gathering of allies with some scrap of strategic insight?
The Archon of Secrets turns his head to the side until the face of his mask has turned around and a new facet of the mask presents itself as facing forward. Next the Archon speaks. The trembling voice of a younger man can be heard.
Our river was to be the bulwark, but with the tidecasters slain, what hope remains? It's so cold in here. Help me, please.
The Archon turns his head far to the side till the previous facet of his mask now looks forward. The use of the term "our river" suggests this is the voice of the late Matani Genev, ranking member of the Vendrian Guard. The wealthy House Matani owned much of the realm of Apex before the coming of Kairos, and the major river in the valley bears the Matani name.
Our sources tell us the Oathbreakers had some sort of magical trick in store. But this knowledge is tinged with fear, trepidation. If we make a move for the Matani, we suspect the Oathbreakers will mount a counterattack that is equal parts valiant and futile.
That voice that I heard, who was it?
That was Matani Yanev, former noble of Apex and one of the leaders of the Vendrian Guard. Back when they were half-respectable enemies that knew how to lose with dignity. When the Guard first surrendered, Yanev presented himself to us. What he knew, we now know.
Okay, let me see. The second and the third options are out because we actually like the Disfavored and don't like the Scarlet Chorus. Then again, to be honest, Tiberius is not fond of the Scarlet Chorus to the point where he basically thinks they're all but useless, unless you need numbers to throw at a problem, which is rarely the thing that you need done. But I think that's enough talking. There's work to be done. My lord, Barrick and his band have been drilled on the Echo Call assault plan. The Crescent Runners should be briefing him as we speak regarding the latest enemy movements along the river. I will dispatch him at once. The Iron Marshal salutes, clapping her gauntlet to her breastplate. And I will ensure the chorus stands ready to march. If the Disfavored can take the river, the chorus has the manpower to secure the outer ring of the valley.
Our soldiers clamor for battle, and at last we shall have it. Verse, we command you to continue guarding the Fatebinder. Tunon's Chosen is our honored guest, and must be shown our finest hospitality.
Well, that's nice, I suppose. least until he orders her to try and stab us in the back or something.
I won't let you down, boss. He'll get through the campaign in one piece, as long as he doesn't do anything too stupid.
Depends on how you define stupid. The Archon twirls his scepter one last time, then taps the fifth eye on his shoulder, and the two depart. You hear the voices in your head. Suit yourself, Fatebinder. The more you ignore us... ... Good, get out of here. You people are a pain in my ass.
The fool and his puppet are gone. Perhaps now I can hear
Amen
myself
to
think.
that, sir.
Rarely do I question Kairos' judgment, but I will never understand why the voices of Narot is given such authority. I shudder to think what will become of us all should Tunon favor him in the end.
Yeah, I have to agree with that. Not only are they pains in the ass to deal with, but their attitude and strategies are pretty much worthless as far as Tiberius is concerned.
Though the edict threatens the Scarlet Chorus just as it threatens us, I cannot shake the feeling that our allies will work against us.
To be honest, he has a legitimate reason to feel that way, because the Scarlet Chorus is an extremely unstable army, and have a tendency to betray each other to grab power. So, if you think they'll work against you, that's probably because they will.
But at least we have allies in the court. My best soldiers have never wanted for a good blade or suit of armor, and I know I have you to thank for it. I fear we will have to call on you for more than just a few works of iron. You've shown your worth in war, and your name has been known to the Legion since the very beginning of this long conquest. So I'd ask that you join us this one last time, to help us wrap up this last objective. If you wish to be counted amongst the glorious, speak with the Iron Marshal. She will direct the order of battle until we are ready for the final push into the Citadel.
I'm short a few scouts, short a few soldiers, short a few everything. I'm sure my brethren would be grateful for the assistance of a skilled outsider. And the Scarlet Chorus, how are they actually going to help, if they do?
I ask myself that question often. While we take the river crossing, the Scarlet Chorus should be using their sizable presence to remove the Oathbreaker patrols lurking in the outer valley.
Good. Let's give them a job they can actually do. Because we all know they're not that useful. The Oathbreakers have maintained a sizable force outside the Citadel. We need the Chorus's manpower to scour the region. Otherwise, the Oathbreakers will attack at our heels once we cross the Mittani. I would be honored to help you. The Iron Marshal salutes Graven Ash, then turns to leave the tent. I will be at the training grounds, readying the soldiers. Find me there when you are ready. She pauses, clearing her throat, and though I am loath to mention it, the Chorus can likely use your assistance. They certainly won't secure the outer valley on their own. Fifth Eye will be somewhere in the rat's nest they call a camp, due east. Seek him out if you must. And we have delivered the word of the edict. And we have a time limit now. There are 8 days until Kairos' Day of Swords. And I imagine if we hit that day, then we and everyone else in the valley will probably die. But we now have 2 objectives: to help the Scarlet Chorus and the Iron Legion achieve their objectives in this battle, and I am going to be doing both. I don't know if either one is optional or not, but I will do both.
On it.
There appears to be some problem here. Let's see. Fatebinder Tiberius, am I right? I'm Severus. Or Sevius, rather. Commander and third generation disfavored. Specifically, I'm Sevius the Younger. Some folks can't keep track. The rank says Commander, but lately I'm just organizing patrols and trying to stay out of the way. You should talk to Iron Marshal if you've something official that needs discussing. What is it you need? Why do you think the siege is delayed for so long? We have favor 1, so we get something special apparently. It should have been over real quick and simple. The first cohort arrived in the valley and went right for the kill. That was before we knew the Vendrian Guard had sages and that water witch on their side. A bigger problem is the Scarlet Chorus. They eagerly conscript the Vendrian Guard, but I have no proof of this. But it seems they do very little to keep a watchful eye on these drafted tiersmen. They are often sent out on patrol, and we suspect they use that opportunity to escape back to the Vendrian Guard. Yeah, I agree with that, honestly. It does seem very stupid of the Chorus to be doing this, where they're just basically giving captured enemies a chance to go back to their old army. The Scarlet Chorus seem to be literally feeding their enemies additional manpower. Anyways, back to the verse. Every Chorus conscript has a choice: life under Kairos or death under the army's boots. By all means, feel free to cut down those who choose the latter. We won't be offended. Just so we don't mistake each other, I know what I'm saying carries an implication of treachery. I'm not making a formal accusation before Tunan's agent. I'm just voicing my gut opinion on the matter. Fair enough. You have a right to your opinion. The two armies haven't worked together very well in years. Why is that, do you think? Come on, Binder. Seems like asking why beasts stink. The disfavored are only too eager to deliver Kairos' peace to the tiers, while the Scarlet Chorus bring only mayhem in their wake. You can tell me the Voices of Nerat has a plan, and I'll take your word for it, but the Chorus sure seem to blunder around, never moving with purpose as we do. I wonder if we've been fighting the same war soldier. I've seen Ash yank his precious soldiers away from more battles than he's won. If you want to call that progress, be my guest. Okay, these two are really not going to get along. Unless we find a way to work as one, I fear the Scarlet Chorus will step in front of Graven Ash's strategies at every turn. As far as I'm concerned, it seems like the Voices of Nerat is here to amuse himself, while the rest of us are here to do our job. Okay, so I heard you asking that Earthshaker where their reinforcements have gone. Is there an issue? I'm afraid so. Radix, the head of the Earthshakers, was supposed to arrive with a group of his most competent spellslingers to help break this stalemate. I don't know what's holding up their arrival, and that worries me. If you are at all inclined to lend a hand, we could use some arcane support on our side. As we are not a soldier or guild apprentice, we don't have these options, but I think I could lend a hand. It seems like a good idea to have some magical support on our side against these rebels, since they apparently have water mages. Could you? I knew that Tunan's agent wouldn't fail us in a time of need. I'll mark the last known site of our Earthshaker reinforcements on your map. Good hunting, Faithbinder. Alright, well, now tell me about yourself. This favor 1. Not much to tell. My father was Sevius the Elder. His father was Sevius the First of his name, lead drill master of Ash's first Iron Guard, back when they were the Bronze Guard. I was born into the Legion, and with any hope, I'll die in the Legion. The rest you will hopefully hear about when the storytellers immortalize me. Okay. We are a noble and think heritage is important, so this is going to be our view. You should be proud of your pedigree. Thanks, but I try not to think about it too fondly. If anything, every time I screw something up, I wish I wasn't dragging the family name through mud along with me. Okay, farewell then. Of course. Okay. I hit the wrong thing there, apparently. But we have a new quest now. And the Iron Marshal. Don't just coddle the impact, push back with your shield. Take the momentum. Iron Marshal Arrhenius, field commander of the disfavored, pounds her fist in the air as she calls out to the warriors on the training field. I said eyes on your opponent's waistline. If you spend more than a glance checking his footwork, you've lost. A disfavored officer turns to you, adjusting her pale golden surcoat as she clears her throat. Need to stay on top of the troops or their skills will rust. It's for their own good, even if they don't believe it. How are your warriors reacting to the edict? Just trying to get a general sense of how things are around camp. Kairos' ultimatum has the camp on edge. Some with dread, but most are rife with anticipation. She points to the men sparring in the field. We have a lot of brothers and sisters to avenge, and the warriors are eager to take out some aggression. I, for one, choose to see the edict as a blessing, for it forces the generals to act, and we're long overdue. Yes, this would be Tiberius's view as well, that the edict was necessary and put there to compel the leaders of the armies to act, rather than just sitting around bitching at each other. It was mentioned you're short on warriors and need help. What's the situation? I have brigades amassing along Placid, Echo Hall, and Little Tooth crossings. Vendrian Guard may be able to hold one bridge, but they cannot hold against a concerted three-pronged attack. I have no right to give you orders, but her words falter, a short cough breaking her flow. But we all will die to Kairos' edict should we fail, so I'm not about to let my pride blind me to the value of good help. Okay. This is the second major attack on this river, if I heard correctly. What happened the last time around? Defeat in detail. We carved a bloody path up to the river, but at that point, everyone who charged ahead was lost. We had no chorus backup. It was just a few disfavored squads. I can't tell you exactly how they were defeated, but we lost the whole assault team. She shakes her head, letting out a long, pained sigh. We found bodies washing up in the river for days. It's not often the Tearsmen put up such a good fight. It certainly made us reevaluate the number we'll need to take the valley. Really, are you sure our scouts didn't give you all sorts of tales about the enemy and you just chose to disregard our warnings? At this point, I think Tiberius is going to be of the opinion that we do not want to start squabbling between the disfavored and the Scarlet Chorus again, and he's just going to basically be playing peacemaker. So basically, this is the way it's going to go down. Enough, both of you. You can pass out blame after the war's over. The Oathbreakers are the only thing that matter now. Quite right. Getting our emotions into the mix won't hasten this campaign. And what's the value of taking this crossing? We can't just march from here to the Citadel with the Vendrian Guard manning the riverbanks. Forwarding troops and supplies through even the narrowest points of the river makes us vulnerable to attack, especially since our armor wasn't built for swimming. She points north toward the mountain spire looming on the horizon. If we can take the river, we have a clear march to the Citadel, and Ascension Hall will be ours in no time. Well, if taking the river will get us so close to winning this war and dealing with this rebellion, then I would be more than happy to assist. And our plan just might work. The Iron Marshal lifts her gauntlet close to her face, shifting her eyes from you to the middle articulations. We are loath to work with those who do not share our training and our values. We know that Tunam the Adjudicator selects only the most capable minds for his court, and I trust you will honor us all on the field. Antio will be leading the charge at Echo Call Crossing. Assisting you will be Barrack of the Stone Shields. She points to a heavily armored soldier standing sentry at the edge of the training field. She's talking about that guy, by the way. Before you ask, no, the Forgebound weren't sloshed on Dapple's seat when they fitted his armor. He survived the full force of the Edict of Storms, and this armor doesn't exactly come off. Tactically, it's quite brilliant, but otherwise it's something of a curse. Tapping her helmet twice, Irenaeus signals to the hulking presence. Barrack, come meet the Fatebinder. The soldier that steps up to you better resembles an amalgamation of rusted blades and mismatched pieces of armor fused into a vaguely human shape. He reeks of sweat, feces, and whatever oil treatment keeps him flexible. Oh my, that's... well, I don't think absolutely fucking intolerable or revolting as hell even comes close to covering it, honestly. But you get the idea.
Fatebinder, the Iron Marshal has tasked me with keeping you alive, and I have no intention of disappointing her. That should be enough assurance for anyone.
Yes, it's an honor, Barrack.
Likewise, good Binder.
The soldier heaves a heavy iron arm into a salute, his whole body clanging as he wraps his gauntlet against the twisted sheets of metal that form his breastplate.
Barrack, is that you under there? I had no idea you were in Vendrian's well. Fatebinder, do you know this walking anchor?
No, I don't believe we've been acquainted, as of yet.
It's challenging enough to experience battle from a courtroom, much less remember the faces of your cohorts. I wouldn't expect you to know me under these accursed blades of rust.
He bangs on his malformed chest armor for emphasis. The Fatebinder will be joining us on the push across the river. I figured an extra hand might help. And more importantly, if my worries come true, and the chorus tries to impede the mission, we will have an observer from the court on our side.
Better to work with the Honorable Binder than some chorus children.
He nods to you, his armor creaking as he bends his neck. I ask that Barrack accompany you there to arbitrate the cooperation between his company and the Scarlet Chorus. Barrack, you've been without a cohort since the last Battle of Stalwart. It's time we gave you a task more worthy than hauling wagons and leading training drills. She plants her hands on her hips and speaks in clipped official terms. Ash has assigned you to the Fatebinder's surface. You would assume this task is ongoing until we find a more permanent spot for you, which could very well mean the swiftly approaching end of this war, or when the Fatebinder dismisses you. Is that understood? Barrack regards the Iron Marshal in oppressive silence. That's an order, Barrack. She shakes her head and sighs, returning her focus to you. He can be as stubborn as pulling a spire out of the earth, but he's a good soldier. I hope you don't mind the company. Of course not. I'd be honored to have a member of the Iron Legion at my side. After all, Tiberius has an incredible amount of respect for the disfavored. And, in fact, at one point in his life, he even before he became a Fatebinder, he even contemplated putting in a request to join their ranks. That should give you an idea of the kind of respect he has for them. Excellent. I look forward to your success in the field. And we now have a third member of our party.
Yes.
And now, we're going to take a trip to the Scarlet Chorus camp and see if we can't perhaps manage to find some things to help them out with. So, Scarlet Chorus camp. That will take us 2 hours. And we are ambushed by a small group of Vendrian Guard. Makes sense. We have enemies all over the damn place. So they're gonna be in the area.
That's far enough, Fatebinder.
A woman's voice booms from atop a nearby outcropping. Flashes of aquamarine body paint peek out from under her loose-fitting traveler's garb, and her outfit is festooned in braids and knots of sailor's line. Flanked on either side by warriors dressed in Vendrian's Guard regalia, the woman leans on an elaborate bladed staff pulsing with arcane energy. A swath of blue fabric rests draped over her arm. So she's under a flag of he is under a flag of truce apparently, and is a mage. Interesting.
In accordance with ancient customs north and south, I offer and request a delay of blade. There are matters we must discuss without fear of reprisal.
Yes, and Tiberius is from a noble family, so we are very respectful of these traditions. In accordance with ancient customs north and south, I abide by this truce.
As is our custom, we are ready to kill to defend our lands, but we kill only in fair battle. We don't slay our prisoners. We know this isn't Kairos' way, but we must have hope. A few of my kin have gone missing, and though they may have perished, I have to inquire on the off chance they still live. If Captain Tarkus Deimos still lives, we would negotiate for his release.
Well, there's no reason for us to lie right now, I'm afraid. Tarkus Deimos is dead.
I see. That is as I feared, but thank you for telling me all the same. I prefer closure to wishful thinking. If I may make one more inquiry, what of Palox Tyrell? Did he survive?
No, I'm afraid he is dead too. She nods slowly, saying nothing for a long moment.
My apologies, Fatebinder. I had a terrible feeling this errand was in vain from the start. I had no expectations that our friends could be saved, as I'm sure the time for swapping prisoners is long gone. But at least I know of what became of them. That'll have to be enough.